Hi, and thanks for joining on my channel, Canadian Board Game Replays. I hope you enjoy the game replay that I have for you today. Today, I want to know what your thoughts are. I'm going to identify an important stage of the game, and then I'm going to ask you what you would do at that point. Then I want you to post that in the comments of this video so we can share and discuss your thoughts. The whole point of this channel is to engage folks in the board game community and maybe bring a couple of new folks into the fold. Today's game's The Gang. Welcome to The Gang. You are The Gang, a group of professional thieves ready to commit a series of heists. The success of these heists hangs on the gang's perfect coordination. To win the game, you'll have to work together to crack 3 vaults without tripping the alarm 3 times. And how exactly will you do it? You'll play poker, cooperatively. This is a very unique game with fun poker mechanics. Let's get into the game. Before we press play on this game, let's take a look at the board. So this game is played in a number of rounds, and so if you're familiar with poker at all, we've got the flop, which are the 3 cards that are dealt, the pre-flop, which is before that, we've got the turn, which is 1 card, and the river, which is another card. So we're going to end up with 5 cards on the board plus your 2 cards, and then you make your best 5-card poker hand. You can see the chips here go from 1 to 4, lowest to highest, and at every step of the way, we're going to try and rank our hand versus the other people's hands. Of course, the challenge is you can't see their hands. In this version, you can due to some video editing magic tricks that I've done, so you can see up here what everyone has. Obviously, we're playing from my perspective, so Paul T111, so my hand's down here in the bottom, the 9-4. And you're just going to basically take and give back the chips in such a way that you communicate with others what you have. So if I were to pick up the 1 chip, I'm obviously communicating that I have a low hand. But if I give back the 1 chip, I'm saying I have a low hand, but it's not the lowest. So if you've got like a 2-3 or a 2-4 or a 2-5, you should probably take it. A couple things with the board set up. So you can see we already talked about the chips. We've got the place where the flop, turn, river are going to go right in front of us. In the bottom left, we have what looks like kind of 6 round circles. The top 3 are alarms. The bottom 3 are vaults. So as you open vaults, you get a vault token that goes there. If you open 3 vaults before you sound 3 alarms, then you win the game as a team. So we win or lose as a team. That's a really important part of this game. So you see now I've got a 9-4. So I've got to think, okay, am I going to take the 1 or the 2? Obviously, I'm not going to take the 3 or the 4. An important rule in this game, more of a strategy than a rule per se, is you don't necessarily bet the potential, except for pre-flop. Pre-flop's a bit different. You've got, really good hands like ace-ace, and then really bad hands like 2-7 or 2-6. And those obviously have potential. Once we get dealing into the actual cards on the table, so the flop comes down 3. If you have like ace king and the flop comes, queen, 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 your hand isn't as good as it was before. But the way people play this game normally is you always declare the chip that you had before, unless someone goes up and then you can go down. Normally, you don't go down unless someone else is coming up. And you'll see what I mean when we start getting into the game. So let's play this game a little bit out and see how it goes. I will pause at a couple points. And then, like I said in the intro, I will pause at one important point of the game and then ask you what you would do at that stage. So let's get started. So we start with the white chips. And then so we're going to have basically 4 rounds of these chips. And the last round is the only round that really matters. That's the one where we compare all of our cards to what we say the rank is and see if we win. In order to win, you have to get all of it right. If you miss even 1 step, that's an alarm and you miss out. So let's start going here. Okay, so it's a free-for-all. There's no turns. So, some guys grabbing a 2, some guys grabbing a 1. So you can see he's got, so that the top blue player there has a 7-3. That's pretty much the worst hand you can get in poker. So they'll probably be looking to claim the 1. But 9-4 that I have isn't much better. And then we got a 2-5 over here. That's pretty bad. And 9-10. So there's really no super strong hands here, which is going to make this a really interesting round. So let's see. So I grabbed the 1 here, indicating, yep, I have a pretty weak hand. And then the 2-5 grabs it, saying, I got a weak hand. And the 7-3 grabs, saying, I got a weak hand. So we've all got pretty weak hands. So let's see how this ends up shaking out for this round. So even the red player takes the 2 token, saying they've got a semi-weak hand. They don't realize that they've got a monster compared to all the rest of us. So let's see how this ends up ending up at the end of the white round. So I'm holding on to the white. The 7-3 grabs it. I take the 2. The 3. Okay, so where we ended up then at the end of the round, let's just take a look. So the 1 was the 7-3, the 2 was the 9-4, and the 3 was the 5-2, and then the 4 was the 9-10. The only thing a bit tricky with that is the 2-5 maybe should be a little lower, but the nice thing about the 2-5 is it does have the potential to straight, whereas the 7-3 and the 9-4, it's a bit of a wider gap. So let's see how it plays out. We're going to have the flop here. So after the flop, now we've got the yellow tokens, and because we don't have any fancy variants on, you can still see what you did last round. So you can see what white 3, blue 1, red 4, and myself 2. So now we've got 4 ace 5. Let's see who it hit. So the 2-5 got hit with a mid pair, so they've got a pair of 5s. That's good. I've got the low pair of 4s. 3-7's got nothing. 9-10's got nothing. Now, 3-7 has some potential. They have 3, 4, 5, 7. So in poker world, we call that a gut shot straight because they're waiting for a 6 in the middle. So in this game, you don't really ever bet, like I said, bet on potential. So the fact that he's got that gut shot straight doesn't really matter. He still has a pretty weak hand. And he's probably going to stay with the 1 here. The 2-5 is actually the high hand right now, followed by my 9-4 and then the 9-10. So let's see how this ends up progressing. Who takes what? So the 9-10 took the 1, kind of signifying, look, I didn't hit anything. I had a 4, I had a good hand, but I didn't hit anything. So sending a signal. And then, so the 2-5 steps up to the 3. So that's basically saying, look, I hit kind of the best thing I could hit. Now, when he takes the 3, it kind of asks other players, did you hit something? Like if someone had an ace, they would take the 3 away, or they would take the 4. So let's see what happens here. So, okay, so I'm considering taking the 3, basically saying, look, I also hit. And then the 2-5 takes the 4 because they hit higher. It is pretty amazing in this game, and I've played a fair few games of the gang at this point, but it is pretty amazing, even without seeing the cards, how good groups can communicate and how they can actually get to the right answer. So if you look at it where we stand now, we actually, I think, pretty much have the right answer, except for the 9-10 and the 7-3 should be swapped, right? 7-3 would technically be a lesser hand than 9-10 just due to high cards. But pretty amazing that we are able to get the 2-5 to the 4 and then myself with the 3 for the pairs that we hit. So let's keep going, see what happens. All right, so now we've got the turn is a 7. So the 7 actually makes now the 7-3 the high hand, which is interesting. And yeah, the 9-10 really didn't hit at all, so pretty weak. 9-4 is the same as it was before, as is the 2-5. So let's see if we can figure out how this ends up. So the 7-3 took the 2, indicating, I've a pretty weak hand, but I've hit something. Although it is staying the same as the prior round, I probably would have liked to see them step up, maybe like to the 3, to indicate that their hand has improved from the prior round. But let's see how this goes. All right, so we ended up here. The 2-5 had the 4 chip, then I had the 3 chip, and the 7-3 has that, and then yeah. So okay, now let's look at the last card. So this is really interesting. So a 6 comes. So now the 7-3 has a monster, right? So it's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they have a straight. So that's pretty good in the gang. That's a pretty good hand. There aren't 3 of any one suit, so there's no potential for flushing. So that straight's pretty good. Let's see what he does with it. I would assume they'll grab the 4 token right away. Yeah, so the 5-2 grabbed the 4 token, but then the blue was like, no, I got this. So yeah, so I think that's where we end up. Now this triggers the end of the heist. So now we go through and we compare and we say, okay, let's rank our hands and see if we did a good job. So 9-10 has high card. 9-4 has one pair. So we're good. That's success. My hand is larger than their hand. 5-2 has one pair, but it's a higher pair. So good. We did a good job there. And then the 7-3, which was the low hand for many rounds, pulls off the straight. So again, success. So again, amazing how this can happen when you only know your own cards communicating with the chips. So now this is us opening one of the vaults. So that's one of the 3 vaults that we need to win. And yeah, that was a good first round. Everyone played really well and really gave good signaling. So now we strip everything away and we start over. All right, so taking a look here. So I've got the 5-2 hand, so a pretty solid 1, unless someone battles you for it. And looking at the other hands, I don't think there's going to be any battling for the 1. I am clearly the 1. So we'll see what the 2 ends up going. We've got King 6, A7, Jack 6, so all pretty good hands. Obviously, the A7 is the strongest of the bunch, given the ace. But yeah, a good mix. Let's see how this shakes out. So like I said, I'll probably grab the 1 early, and I will not be giving that up, I don't think. So they're trying to battle for who's got the better hand here. We'll see how they end up. So you can see they're kind of taking it, giving it back. That's kind of like the uncertainty, saying, look, I've got a good hand, but maybe not the best. So let's see how we ended up. So A7 has the high one. That makes total sense. Jack 6 and King 6. So those 2 probably should have flipped, in a perfect world. But, this is not a perfect world, and we don't have perfect information. So given the information they had, I think it was pretty decent. So now let's see how things shake out. We can already see a Jack coming on, which will obviously change things. Okay, that changes things a lot. So we've got Jack, Jack. So our Jack 6 has obviously got a monster. 3 Jacks. Great play. And our King 6 and A7 really didn't hit anything. So let's see how this works. I would think that Jack 6 is probably going to grab the 4 right away. So yeah, if the Jack 6 grabbed the 4 right away, that's good. I grabbed the 2 briefly, just show that I got the 5. I missed that the first time, so I do have a pair of 5s. So that probably necessitates me moving up in the order from the one that I had before. So let's see how that shakes out. So I'm grabbing the 2. They're taking it back. So I just basically said, you know what? Fine. If you think you got it, you got it. It's only this round. We can always change up later on. So I said, fine, you can keep it. I kept taking it back. He kept taking it back. Bit of a tug of war. But yeah, let's just keep going and see what happens. So we got a 3. So the 3 isn't really going to change a whole lot. We still have 3 Jacks versus my pair of 5s versus high card. So let's see what shakes out in this round. So I try to grab the 2 again. So I'm not sure why the Jack 6 is taking the 4, giving it back. Clearly has a strong hand. I don't think they necessarily need to give it back to signal weakness there. But so now myself and White have flipped. So that's kind of more in the correct range there. Now the King 6, like I said, you don't really bet potential here. So the King 6 should probably be dropping down. But that's probably on me to move up. But with the 5, you just never know where you're at. So let's see how this ends up playing out. So we got an ace at the end. So that changes a lot because now we got A7 has a decent hand, but they should be aware of those Jacks that are out there still too. So let's see how this all plays out. Last round here. So A7 grabs the 4. Blue grabs the 4, basically saying, look, I have a very strong hand. I'm sitting on the 1 with the pair of 5s. And the King 6, yeah, it's tough. They probably should grab the 1, but they've got the King, which is fairly high. So it's hard to say. We might be in trouble on this one. The King 6 stepping up to the 3 makes like no sense. So, but that's sometimes that's the way this game goes. So let's see how it ends up. That's always what matters, where it ends. So I grabbed the 2 there briefly, indicating that I have something. And then he grabs the 2, then I grab the 1. And if this goes down, I think we're going to have an alarm here. So I had a pair of 5s. Anytime you have a pair in this game, you probably should be moving up out of the 1 slot. So So there we go. So we have a problem now. So anytime this happens, it's a failure. The rest of this isn't really going to matter. We're just showing it for fun. Two pairs is obviously the aces and the jacks that are on the board. So what's on the board does count in terms of pairs. So everyone has one pair. And then the jack six, so three of a kind. So that worked too. So even though everyone else succeeded, the fact that myself and red screwed up costs us the whole heist. So that's one alarm. So again, we're one alarm, one vault, still okay. We just need to get some more vaults playing here. So, all right, fresh hand. Okay, so it looks like my streak of bad hands continues. 7-4. They are both diamonds, which has potential, and yeah, but that's a pretty solid one. Although looking here, we've got 5-2, 6-5, 10-7. So that's a lot of pretty weak hands. Let's see how we sort this out. So that guy grabs the one. I imagine I grab the one. Yeah, signal. Look, I got a pretty bad hand here, guys. And then the 5-6 grabs it. But I mean, they are connected, which means they're beside each other, which increases the odds, albeit slim, of hitting a straight. So generally a better hand than like a 7-4 or a 5-2. Okay. Let's see if the 7-10 ever grabs the 4, which would be the right combination probably for them. Maybe the 5-6, depending on, who you are or what you think. So I'm saying, look, I really got to get that one. I really got to get that one. Maybe a 2, but 1 or 2 for sure. So the 5-6. Okay, so it ended up working out pretty well there. So the 7-4 has the 1, then the 5-2 the 2, then the 5-6 suited connectors has a 3, and then 10-7 has the 4 just because their cards are higher than everyone else's. So let's see, Jack 5-7. So we look at it. Our white player has hit a pair of 7s. Our blue player, a pair of 5s, and the 5-6-7. So kind of a, they need 2 more cards to make the straight. So still a bit there. The 5-2 hit the 5, and then the 7-4 I have hit the 7. So we've got a variety. Everyone's hit a little, got a little piece, which can make this really interesting. So let's see how we work it out with the chips. So the 5-2 grabbed the 3 initially, saying, again, I hit something. Then I grabbed it away, saying, hold on, I also hit something. And then I say, my something, it's not the best. It's not a jack. It's a 7. So, I kind of pull back to the 2, say, okay, maybe that's fine. The 10-7 hit something, so they're taking it. The 5-2 is basically saying, I hit something too. Is it the best? I don't know, maybe. The 10-7, 3, and the 5-6 is taking it because they hit the 5, and they've still got the 5-6. So we're pushing around here again. So the 5-2 is basically saying, look, I got the 4, but I don't think I really deserve this. Maybe I'm going to give this back and someone else can grab it if they've got a stronger hand. And that might be signaled to the 10-7 as say, okay, if someone had a jack here, they probably wouldn't be letting go of the 4, right? So now the 5-6 has the 4, which, probably not the most optimal based on what we can see, but based on what they can see, they have a pair of 5s. It's possible they've hit a fairly high hand that no one else has, but unlikely that no one's hit a 7 or a jack would be my thought. So now I'm grabbing the 2 with the 7, which, probably is a little weak for that hand. And the 5-6 grabs it back. I've got the 1, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense how I ended up with the 1 with the pair of 7s. Technically, the 5-2 had the 4, which should make a whole lot of sense. But now, of course, the turn comes and changes everything. So now we've got a 2. So now the 5-2 is a legit hand. That's a legit 4, maybe a 3 in some tables, but probably a 4 in most at this stage. The 5-6 is the same as before. The 10-7, same as before. And the 7-4, same as before. So only thing that really changed there is the 5-2's hand really strengthened. So I think, yeah, probably will take the 4 without much contest. And then, okay, so if we've organized ourselves fairly well here. So the high one is the 5-2 pair, then the 10-7, and then the 7-4, and then the 5-6. This is one of those times where you look at it and you go, how the heck do we sort this out without knowing what each other's cards are? And it is pretty amazing how you can communicate with other players just by giving and taking in the different chips. And I think it's really the fun part about this game that, to be honest, I haven't seen anywhere else in terms of the give and the take of the chips signaling so much. I think it's really interesting, and I look forward to trying to play this game in person, which I mean should be fairly easy. You just need some chips and some cards, and seeing how the really dynamic plays out. And you really shouldn't be giving verbal clues. It kind of ruins the game, but you know it'll happen eventually. So it's interesting. Let's hit. We hit a 9. So there's 3 hearts on the board, which could be a flush, but of course no one has any, so it's not. The 9, I don't feel like it really changed a whole lot or anything at all, really. No one's got a 9. No one's straightening on the 9. So really nothing has changed. So in an ideal world, we should be the same, tokens that we had before. Let's see how it shakes out. So the 5-2 takes the 4, gives it back, says, I don't know, then takes it again, and I don't think anyone's going to take it from them. So the 5-6 is trying to figure out, do I have the worst hand? I do have a pair of 5s, but, do I have the worst hand? We have the second worst hand. All right, so it looks like we're kind of gravitating towards, okay, so the 5-6 is saying, oh, well, maybe I don't have the worst hand because I do have a pair. But let's see how it shakes out. Okay, so like here, they're one of those times where I think we've pretty much sorted it out. I think we got this, and it's pretty amazing how we can do that just by exchanging chips. Let's just double check that, make sure I'm not off the mark. So we got 1 pair there, just the pair of 5s. Next one's going to be me, 1 pair, but pair of 7s. It's a higher pair. And then next one is going to be the 7-10. So pair of 7s, but higher kicker. Kicker is the other card, the 10, which plays at a 5-card hand in this case. So his 10 is bigger than 4, so that makes sense. And then, of course, we have the 5-2 2 pairs, which is stronger than 1 pair. And yeah, there we go. We did it. Like I said, I don't know how it works sometimes, but it's just, it's with enough resilience and trading of the chips, it just seems to work out sometimes. So summarizing where we're at, we have 1 alarm and we have 2 vaults. So all we need to do is get 1 more vault here, and before we get 2 alarms, and we're all set. So finally, I get a decent potential hand. At least it's a face card. So the 9-10 hit the 9. So they took the 4 initially. So then they took the 3 because they see it's not a queen and someone could have a queen. And then I'll take the 3 back. I'm not sure why. I don't know what I was thinking this game, guys. I got to be honest with you. This is not one of my better games. With the queen there, I should have been pulling back on the 4 and giving him a little more pressure on the 4 to show that I had real strength. But I didn't do that. So we'll see how this shakes out. So now we've got an 8. So we've got 2 hearts, 2 diamonds. We've got an 8, 9 queen potential straight there. They've got a 10, so they've got 8, 9, 10. Gut shot with a jack for the straight. I've got queen 2, so a pair of queens. The 8, 4 has a pair of 8s, but also has a potential for a flush, right? Because they have 2 diamonds on board and then the 2 there, so it's 4. You need 5 to make a flush, obviously. And then the king 4 has hit nothing. So let's see how this shakes out. All right, so they went for the 3 initially, giving me the 4 for the queen 2, which I think makes a lot of sense. And now, of course, the card comes and everything changes. It's a diamond, so this should make a fairly easy 4 for blue, for cheddar, given they have the flush. And the good news is I don't think anyone hit the straight with that, so there's not going to be anyone really to contest for that. When a player with 2 diamonds like that grabs the 4 so definitively, when a 3rd diamond hits, they basically telegraphing to everyone, I have the flush. That's the best hand right now. Just leave it. And we're all working on the same team, so we want to get the right answer. So now let's take a look. I think we've done it here. Let's take a look how it turns out. So we got high card, so no pairs, just a high card king. And then we got 1 pair, the pair of 9s. Very good. Looking good. And then we have my pair of queens. Again, looking good. And then finally, we have our diamond flush, which of course beats all those. So that is great. That is a 3rd vault, and that is a win. And that is the game. Very good. So I hope you all enjoyed this replay and this game. It is a really fun game, and I have had a chance to play with it with some folks on Discord, where you're all kind of like, hollering and hooting and giving chirping a little bit about how things go and saying, oh, why did you do that? I can't believe you did that, after the hands are revealed, of course, because doing it beforehand would be cheating, and we don't like cheating in co-op games. It's just not fun. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this commentary that I threw together. I've been playing a bunch of this game. It's pretty fun. It's a good little community of players. Not a whole lot, but I think it's going to grow once word gets out about how interesting the game is. It definitely helps to have a good foundational knowledge of poker. But if you don't, there's a little information card you can open that shows you all the rankings. I mean, you can make do. And the only thing that's really tricky is kind of knowing the value of the first 2 cards, the starting hands, and kind of where you should be. But in general, higher cards are better than lower cards. And if you got a pair in your first 2, that's fairly strong, and you want to show that. So that's the game. And thanks a lot for joining here. And I hope you really enjoyed and can leave a comment down below. That would be great. Thank you very much. Bye.